it's weird because I think we're coming to a point in society where you're going to have two opposing forces. You have the ESG ratings, and then you have religion. So you have people who are pushing things based off of a religious agenda, and then you have people pushing things off of this woke ESG rating agenda.
What if you don't want to be a part of either?
Well, you kind of don't have a choice because they're going at it. These are two powerhouses going at it.
Yeah, I get it. So,
it's getting crazy.
Jesus, man. So pick a side. Either you with Jesus or you're not. Pick a team.
Pick a team.
What are these companies going to do? Are they going to pick a team? Are they going to pick a side? And like we discussed before on this channel, why do people feel that these companies have to pick a side? Now it's adding up why they do.
Right.
That they want the money. Why Target? Why Kohl's? Why PetSmart? Why Budweiser?
Because it'll help us grow our stock. It'll help them, increase our bottom line, if you will.
Of course, we get more backing so we can do more things. So when bad things do happen or whatever, or we continue to tip down in the percent, we'll be fine because our ESG score is okay. So our profit share is going to be great. Our shareholders, our office, everyone else will be taken care of. We'll be fine. We'll be okay. Now the public, but our company itself will be fine. You say, oh, that's a virtuous person. That's a virtuous company. Right. I'm going to support them. This is why I purchased this product.
But what you don't know is that they're only doing that because they want. It's like this theory I've always had. It's like, are people actually good people? Are they good because they want to be good, or are they good because they want to go to heaven, or they want something in
It's
return?
out of expectations of you want something. There's no genuine to it. You're more afraid of going back to what you were or losing what you got.
So you know how we live in this society where everything seems to be this quote unquote woke.
Yes, the simulation we're in, yes.
So who's to blame for this? I feel like down here we like to blame the organizations like Disney. We like to blame the Bud Lights and the Targets for
social media. Yeah, those are usually the usual scapegoats and reasons.
But what if I told you all of this has to do with some sort of social score called ESG rating? Intro. The ESG rating, it started in 2004.
Okay, it's not very long.
It's a rating that's in place to make corporations become more environmentally friendly, more socially acceptable, more...
So they're the police. They police it all.
Yeah, and it's run by these major financial institutions, like I said, a lot of these major companies like Disney get loans from these companies because the people running these businesses...
So they finance it. Oh.
Yeah, $66 trillion of backing.
Wow. That's a lot of money, man.
That's why Apple and Disney, they get their loans from these guys. They are the puppet masters behind all of this woke stuff going on.
So the old adage of people working in the shadows, they don't have any faces, you would never know who they are.
Right.
This is who they are.
This is who they are.
Okay.
And it kind of makes me wonder as to, and I'll have to do the research, as to what the average movie budget was for Disney prior to 2004. Compared to after 2004.
That's interesting.
Because if there is a huge difference, say if your movies were costing $60 million to create, and now they're costing $260 million to create.
Well, it had to be. Think about how much it cost. That's why they've lost so much money. Almost $1 billion the last movie.
Right.
So they've had to give them even more income.
And it's kind of like why that they don't care that people are so outraged by things. They just keep putting out things that people just aren't too happy with. And maybe it's not even the grand public. You know, maybe it's just the conservatives or people who are just not under the influence of what they're trying to put out there. But I got a video from the Joe Rogan Experience that we're going to react to somewhat.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
They are the money flows through everything, and most of it's advertising based. All of Silicon Valley is a hits business. Instead of caring what their users want, they want hits. So they'll acquire hits. Oh, this YouTuber's great. We're going to hook him up. This podcast is great. We're going to give him $60, $80, $100 million. No offense, but it's hits business. They're buying hits, not doing anything more than that. And if you don't play along, you're going to lose your income overnight. So ESG, have you heard of this?
Well, that's factual. Yeah, if you do not play along with the game, then your backing just leaves.
Of course. And then on top of that, They just flip a narrative on you. That's all they do.
Right.
So, okay, you don't want to play ball or you don't want to do it. Cool. We'll destroy everything around you. We'll get everyone to go against you. Look, you don't even have any proof.
Right.
Of these. You're not, substantiating any of this. But yet other people are saying it. Why aren't they getting in trouble? Why can't I say anything about it? Why are you allowing them to do this? Wow. Power, man.
Yeah. So ESG, and this is now something that if you want to invest in a company, they will, on their investor relations page, they'll show you their ESG score. ESG stands for environmental, social, corporate governance. And this is where the woke culture comes from. So they've created this kind of phony baloney rating system that says, well, if you, I'm exaggerating, but if you mention that you are, have a green agenda and you believe in carbon credits and you might trade some credits somewhere, then you get a higher score and therefore you're more investable. And it's very interesting to see how big investors like insurance company, institutional investors, they are steering away from anything that does not have the right ESG rating. And so in order to have investors continue to be interested in the stock, which is important for the company, for its perception, certainly for the officers of the company and the shareholders, you have to move this along continuously. And so it's very simple to see why doing a woke ad as Nike or as any other company, and Pride Month is fantastic because Pride is easy. Throw up some flags, show the right people, trans, whatever, and you got a high ESG score. And so this is a
But now it's backfiring though.
Yeah. Well,
so how does that work? Since we had with Budweiser losing billions on this issue and Target and Kohl's, so how did that affect their ESG score with everything happening? I wonder how that. What was it, and then what is it now?
Budweiser's has probably gone down because they backtracked on a lot of their statements, on a lot of their things.
Of course.
It's weird because I think we're coming to a point in society where you're going to have two opposing forces. You have the ESG ratings, and then you have religion. So you have people who are pushing things based off of a religious agenda, and then you have people pushing things off of this woke ESG rating agenda.
What if you don't want to be a part of either?
Well, you kind of don't have a choice because they're going at it. These are two powerhouses going at it.
Yeah, I get it. So,
it's getting crazy.
Jesus, man. So pick a side. Either you're with Jesus or you're not. Pick a team.
This is a control mechanism that is being used throughout all corporations worldwide, and I don't even think it's stoppable. People are just starting to figure out what's going on. That's where all this is coming from. Nike doesn't give a fuck about black people that way. I don't believe it. They care about their stock price. Of course, individually, there's people who care. There's no doubt about it. But it's driven by ESG. And they have this formula how you measure your ESG score and if you're really investable. And it's funny because you'll see like Nike has a 75%.
So if your score is low, ESG, then you don't get any kind of financial backing.
Yeah, nobody talks about you. You can't get anything. But I mean, look at how many people still make something of themselves in spite of all this. But I guess if you want to really get to that next level,
right?
It takes. If you want to be a celebrity, if you want
or even,
Nike or whatever, like these big sponsors.
Even if you're already there, to maintain that level.
Oh, so
if you're Disney and you want to continue to operate at that Disney level, then you got to continue to put out stuff to keep your score
and
up.
Make it so cookie damn cutter.
Yeah,
because it's just so it's the same regurgitated narrative.
Imagine losing that backing. Imagine losing that financial backing.
And then then you see the way they've coped with it, increasing ticket pricing. You're increasing things, but you're not adding attractions. You're taking away attractions. You're taking away jobs.
Yeah.
And you're passing on all the costs to the consumer.
Right.
And the consumers are struggling to pay their basic bills. And, granted, to go to your park, you got to have some money anyway if you're not already.
It makes you wonder what the ESG scores of a lot of these religious organizations are, which is an oxymoron because it's the opposite side.
They got to work together. Like, you have to have a good and a bad. Like, they work together. We're going to say we're opposing, but honestly, we're all making money in this. But we have to have a counter to what is the narrative,
right. Well,
so it makes sense.
They call it philanthropy, and a lot of these evangelistic style churches, like the Copelands,
the big old mega churches.
Yeah,
you got celebrities that go to them.
So The thing about those, though, is they get their money from their congregation.
Of course, I'm sure. I can't imagine what offering plates look like there.
Yeah, and then of course you got people who are brainwashed so deep into that it's just.
I mean, it's kind of like a code almost. And then you get things like Scientology, and you get that
it's
next level.
well, this is the same thing, except it's run by a lot more money.
Yeah.
percent score. Tesla, which you'd think would be really good, 38. Because not woke enough, or Elon says the wrong things, so it's actually harder to invest for an institution to invest in.
Yeah, so you would think that Tesla would have a high ESG score because of how they're an electric car company. For those of you who are new to the internet, but
their contribution alone, what is it? Amazon and Walmart just bought a huge fleet of semis from Tesla just recently.
Yeah.
So
you would think, but then you got to look at, okay, well, it's being run by Elon Musk, and Elon Musk is a huge proponent of, just doing whatever the hell he wants.
I mean,
so
these men on the planet.
Investors look at that as a huge risk.
So this ESG stuff is really being utilized to control society in general, and Twitter has to adhere to the same thing.
And they're using it as a method to maximize profits because people will support companies that are woke because it aligns with their own personal values. So the companies espouse
I wouldn't say profits, I would say shareholder value.
So that makes you wonder, and this is going to dive super deep into conspiracy territory.
Of course.
Like, don't break your brain on this, but it makes you wonder if someone they manufacture atrocities in order to see how companies react.
Of course. I think it's all part of it's. Some people, just like people believe that this is a simulation, we're living in a simulation, we're getting towards the end of the simulation. Well, there's two proponents that people say. Either we're at the beginning of said simulation, or we're getting at the end.
Right.
We're about the end of it. Because whenever they say sometimes in society, when your society starts worrying and focusing on gender, it's the end of your society. It's at the end of the experiment. Your society is about to collapse. That's what they say. So why wouldn't there be? Okay, we get world events, catastrophic things, events, nature.
Right.
I'm not saying they can't manipulate that. But for the most part, that's out of our control. But things like just recently with this whole pandemic.
Not a pandemic. Look at the war in Ukraine.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Stuff like that.
The war in Ukraine. So something that doesn't necessarily affect America directly, other than our exports and the things that we export to Ukraine.
Of course. Or even Africa. Did you hear Africa? Africa's on the brink of war. Even.
Again?
Yes. There's trouble. There's so much going down there. They're at the brink of war. Another great war there. So, and what just recently happened with Putin.
Yeah.
Putin said, hey, Africa, you don't owe us anything. We forgive you for all your debts. Here's some money to help you. So why would he do that? Why would he then support
Because he needs allies.
Same thing with Germany. Same thing with China.
But
same thing with all these companies aligned.
China beat him to the punch. China pretty much owns Africa.
Yeah. So, but they're all aligning together, just like everybody trying to come up with this universal currency and everything.
Yeah.
It seems like it's too weird for it to be a chance, or we've been discussing it, we're considering. No, you guys you're playing with fire, and you see, okay, how does the world react to this?
Right.
What are these companies going to do? Are they going to pick a team? Are they going to pick a side? And like we discussed before on this channel, why do people feel that these companies have to pick a side? Now it's adding up why they do.
Right.
That they want the money. Why Target? Why Kohl's? Why PetSmart? Why Budweiser?
Because it'll help us grow our stock. It'll help them, increase our bottom line, if you will.
Of course, we get more backing so we can do more things. So when bad things do happen or whatever, or we continue to tip down in the percent, we'll be fine. Because our ESG score is okay. So our profit share is going to be great. Our shareholders, our office, everyone else will be taken care of. We'll be fine. We'll be okay. Now the public, but our company itself will be fine. This is fascinating, man. These are the puppeteers behind it all.
It gets wild.
And that's the system how it's worked, and now they're just expanding it into this mythical ESG, and it's based on how green you are, net zero aspirations, reports, wokeness, social justice.
And it's also because it's connected to the idea of being a better person. It's so easy to support.
Gotta love it, brother. Look at the ads.
And it's one of the rare...
That is true, because we do, as humans, I feel like a mass majority of us want to be better people.
Of course.
So we want to look out for our fellow brothers and sisters for the most part.
Well, and then you got to think, if you're known for aligning with said company or said said people,
right.
then it makes you look better, or you put more trust in it. Okay, why? Well, look at what they do. They donate. They believe in, they're trying to fight global warming. They're feeding and clothing children. They're doing all this stuff. They're creating shelters. So even though you may not be doing it yourself, but since through their virtues,
right.
You say, oh, that's a virtuous person. That's a virtuous company.
Right.
I'm going to support them. This is why I purchased this product.
But what you don't know is that they're only doing that because they want. It's kind of it's like this theory I've always had. It's like, are people actually good people? Are they good because they want to be good, or are they good because they want to go to heaven, or they want something in
It's
return?
out of expectations of you want something. There's no genuine to it. You're more afraid of going back to what you were or losing what you got.
Right.
So if I can gain more or bare minimum keep what I got, what does it take? And now it all adds up. But the cookie cutter mentality. Why, even though people know that it doesn't make sense, they're like, no.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
because the Bud Light thing was confusing.
It was.
It was very confusing.
It was. So you apologize for hurting people, but then you take away the group that you were supporting, that you said you've been supporting. Well, because the CEO said, oh, we've been supporting the LGBTQ plus community since 1998. Have you? Have you been supporting them since 1998? Really?
Yeah.
And people called him on it. Like, where is it that says it? Well, I don't have the data on me.
Yeah, because ESG ratings didn't start till 2004.
So how you gonna throw out a fictitious random 1998? Like, everybody's like, dude, this dude was an idiot. Why would you come on here and not expect people to do research on what you just said? So here we go again. But now it makes sense, man. ESG.
What does it stand for again?
Environmental, social, corporate goals. Governance, I'm sorry.
Governance.
Environmental, social, corporate governance.
Man.
That's wild, man.
It's
ESG rating. So there it is. So next time you think you want to get mad at Disney, although Thor: Love and Thunder, it's hard to put that on ESG. It was so goddamn bad. But
it was. I watched 2 minutes of that. I shut it off, man. I couldn't do it.
This is kind of where we're at as society. You're either with the cause of being progressive, or you're going to be with the religious folk. And if you're in between, you're just going to get destroyed by everybody.
Of course, they'll just hate on you from both sides. You want to pick a team.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the left. You don't want to be the right. Okay. We'll show you. Okay. There you go, guys. Knowledge is power.
Hope you guys have learned something today. My name is Malcolm Eugene.
Will Robertson here.
What's your ESG rating? Let us know down below.
It's crazy. And all this stuff is on their website, too. Now it makes sense when you see the ESG. So start doing research on these things that you, quote unquote, support due to their, all the, like you said, everything they're involved with, social ideologies, or their activism.
Right.
Start taking a look. If they have a high score, who knows?
You gotta wonder. Well, that's the thing. People are gonna support what they want to support regardless.
Of course.
So if they have a high score and people are okay with that, then that's fine. Some people don't have a problem with that because it aligns with their ideas and their values, and that's
it's such a manipulation, a make-believe matrix to make you.
Now you know what religion's like in like the 1600s. They used it to conquer the world.
They did.
Subscribe. We are outro.
Yep.
YouTube outro.